Coach, this Oklahoma BYU thing is becoming an annual tradition here, even before BYU's in the conference. How do you feel about seeing BYU for a third year in a row?
Honestly, lucky you guys get to say my name again, so we practiced that off air. No, honestly, we couldn't have more respect for BYU and the program that they've had forever. Right? It's not like it's just in the last couple of years, but it's always a very, very strong tradition and really excited, especially in our last year in the Big 12 and your first year. So it'll be a great rivalry and, lucky us, we get to play out at your place again.
To do it again.
That's right.
Hey, I know, the conference schedulers, you're like, oh, man, we were there last year. But
we're both play-by-play guys. We care a lot about names.
Perfect.
And so it's Baranczyk.
There you go.
Baranczyk, BYU fans.
It's Baranczyk.
Baranczyk, we Baranczyk.
And you guys are very nice people, so at least
thanks.
just try not to call me anything else.
No, we've got to call a good fair game on ESPN Plus, Okay, tell us about what BYU's walking into in the Big 12. They've certainly played you. They kind of saw Oklahoma style, right, the last 2 years. Crazy overtime game in Norman 2 years ago. Crazy game that you guys really pushed to the end last year and won in Provo. But the league as a whole, what is Big 12 basketball?
Wow, you guys are going to be so impressed. I mean, there are some incredible teams in this league. And I think the biggest thing is just the diversity of the teams. So if you're coming in and you're like, oh, we played Oklahoma, we're different than everybody. And everybody's different. And everybody has a different style. There's great coaches. There's incredible players. I mean, you're talking All-American type players. And so that's going to be really fun. And the other thing that's going to be really fun is when you start to go to some of these arenas, they're going to be packed. And I think that's something that's so special about this league as well.
Let's talk about your team specifically and what you bring back this year and how your team will look and feel different than the team that BYU fans have seen over the past 2 years.
Well, we graduated a pretty significant class, and so we had 3 kind of super seniors, right, that took their COVID year, their extra COVID year, a year ago. And what's so significant about that group is in their first year in the Big 12, we went 4 for 14, and then their senior year, right, their last year, they went 14-4 and shared a conference title. So I mean, there's not a better story, especially with the transfer portal, and you have the NIL experiences, and you have all those things, and so to be able to watch that has been awesome. So this year we will be going through a little bit of a transition period, but this is my 3rd year, and so it's 3rd year of our system, it's 3rd year of our style, and so it'll be really fun to also be able to watch our players really step up, and I'm really excited about the leadership that's elevated, the work ethic, and we've had a little bit of taste of success, and so you got to manage that, and then you also have a different standard when you come in on a daily basis, and that's been pretty cool to see.
Talk to us about Skyler Vaughn, because back-to-back 6th Player of the Year in the league. In the last 15 years of women's college basketball, there's only 2 years where a player had 1 or more fewer starts with her numbers of basically 12 points and 7 rebounds a game and 2 assists. And those 2 seasons were by Skyler Vaughn. What is she like as a player, and does she suddenly start on this team, taking away the bench thing?
Right. I know. Honestly, Skyler is amazing. She is a player that, those players that can simplify everything into little details and just compete, and they kind of may not pay attention to the score, and they don't pay attention to the news, and they don't pay attention, right? They're just in it because they love the grit and the of the game, and it's not about anything else. That's Skyler. Some way, somehow, I could be yelling at her, and she ends up with the ball in her hands, and I'm like, how did that happen, right? And some way, somehow, I mean, you'll look at her, and you'll be like, oh, she plays like she's pretty tall, and she's not that tall, right? And she just does what you need her to do. So not one time did we have a conversation about starting. Not one time. She just wants to play, right? She just wants to do what her team needs her to do. So will she find herself in the starting lineup? I don't know. She deserves it. She's earned it. But, we're still in October. I don't have to make that decision yet.
It's early.
Exactly. But, no, honestly, she 100% deserves it. If it's something where she wants to change that and be able to kind of look at the game and see how she can come in and impact the game, we can have that conversation. But that will be her decision because she's 100% earned it.
If somebody or some coach, some staffer from an opposing school asks you, hey, what can we expect from BYU? What are you telling them about BYU having played the Cougars in each of the last 2 seasons?
Gustin. I mean, honestly. But no, I feel like it's a high-level play, right? There's a lot of reads. Rebounding, obviously, she's so incredible. She's one of the best players, I think, in the country, to be honest with you. But also can shoot. Very fundamental, very, very high-level basketball IQ, and game planning. And I think Amber's done a great job, too. And so I feel like, I've seen, obviously, Jeff Judkins for years, and I coached at Colorado as well. And so I'm very familiar. And I was at the mid-major level for a long time. And so I don't ever look at that, right? So people say the mid-major thing. I'm like, there's some really good teams.
Been there. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I know what being overlooked is like. But to me, it's another style, it's another system, but very good.
Okay, Oklahoma and Texas, frankly, I feel like have done a really good job of not looking ahead too much to next year and the SEC thing. Why is that? And you don't have to speak for Texas, the rival, of course, but from an Oklahoma standpoint of being in the moment and kind of respecting, we're in this league, we want to finish well. And we appreciate what we've had in this league. And obviously, you go to a new neighborhood next year in the SEC, and that's big time for the schools. Why is it that Oklahoma has stayed present like that? Because you could totally be like, yeah, we're out of here next year, da-da-da. But no one has, it feels like.
No. And nor do we want to do that. And part of it is, I didn't come here knowing that was going to happen either, right? And last year, it's not like we were looking at this year in the Big 12. I mean, every year, this is what we do as coaches, right? Is you try to really savor the moment and live in the moment, and then you try to get young people to do the same. So I think from that standpoint, that's just what we do every day. I also have a huge respect for the Big 12. This is my second time around in the Big 12 conference. Kind of third, because I was at Colorado when we were in the Big 12, and then we went to the Pac-12. So, unfortunately, this conference change thing kind of follows sometimes, right? It is wild, and it's a wild time. But make no mistake, this season is going to be a very challenging one. Our non-conference schedule is challenging, our conference schedule is challenging. I also think it's a little bit different when you're a new coach. We're in our third season, so we're trying to develop a program. We're not trying to develop a program in the Big 12 compared to what it will look like in the SEC. You're trying to develop a program, and you're trying to do the same thing. If you compete for if you compete for conference championships in either one of those conferences, you're competing for national championships. So
totally.
From that standpoint, I don't think it changes too much. And so you don't ever want to look too far ahead. We still have practice this afternoon.
So with the recent success you've enjoyed in your relatively young career as the head coach at Oklahoma.
No one calls me young anymore, so thank you.
You're welcome.
In your super young
I don't
career.
even think that's what you said, but I'm
no.
taking it as that.
Listen, Jenny, that was very calculated,
Yes.
okay?
Perfect.
In your very
Perfect.
young career at Oklahoma. I don't even know what I'm going to ask you now. Okay?
Sorry.
Do you like Jenny was a friend of mine by the Killers? Is that a favorite of yours?
I actually like the 8675309 better.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good
Is that
one.
the same song? That's not the same
it's a
song.
different one,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't
Both
even know
got
the
some-
one you're
But
referencing.
it's
I'm
the
surprised.
Killers.
Yeah, but send it to me.
I'll send it to you, Len.
Play
Yeah,
it
don't
when
worry
I
about it.
come out, because I don't have a walkout song.
Oh, in Provo? Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, so when we're
We got
in
you.
Provo.
We got you. Yeah.
No, please
Let's go.
don't do that.
Okay. Oh, we won't do that.
Oh, is this a song?
Okay, good news. I remembered what I was going to ask you.
I was just stalling for you, Doug.
Okay, what's happening here? You're picked to finish fifth in the conference. Okay, you've enjoyed the success that you talked about, and it's like the difficulty of maintaining that consistent success is, man, it's tricky. So, how do you view the fifth place preseason pick? And does it bother you? Does it bother your players, or is it just kind of whatever?
It's whatever. It doesn't matter what other people think of you anyway, right? But especially in a preseason poll, that's a nice gauge and a nice lens to see what other people think. And but other than that, it doesn't matter. You got to show up every day. Things happen, right? The teams that go in with one plan, they never win in the end, right? Like, you've got to be flexible. You've got to be able to adjust. You've got to be able to continue to grow. You've got to get better. So it's just one little view of what other people think of you. So you still have to circle every opponent that you have, and you still want to be able to show up every single day.
It's about time we had a 3-time All Big Ten performer on the show.
We've
right?
been waiting for that, and today was that day. So thanks, Jenny. We
Lucky
appreciate
all
it.
of us.
And hey, the next time we see you, it'll be 2024. It'll be January 3rd.
Great.
It'll
Now
be,
you have to say, Boomer.
conference Bomer.
At some
Can I
point.
say it with an accent? Like Bomer?
Bomer.
I know, well, I'm not even Southern, so I know. But my 6-year-old daughter now, we moved here a couple years ago. She's kind of getting the twang
She's getting
thing,
a
and
little
I'm
twang.
like,
Where's that coming
where is
from?
that? And
Boomer.
my husband's from Wisconsin, so it sounds like we've got people from Canada and deep south in our house.
I don't even know what that mix would sound like.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to
let's
work on.
not
I'm going
try.
to have to work on
Let's
that
not
one. a little
try.
bit.
Bomer Sooner.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Thanks for what
We'll
you
see
do
you
for
in
our game
January.
too.